Welcome back to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, Jack Wolf Knives Sharpshooter Jack drops tomorrow. Northern Knives and Colorful Filth collaborate, and we have a sneak preview on a giveaway that we have here. And then tonight's giveaway is the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway of this beauty here, the Off-Grid Knives Cayman XXL. This one in the Stonewashed 150, no, the Stonewashed D2 and G10 handle. A beautiful modern Bowie knife right here by our friends at Off-Grid Knives. So we're going to be giving that away today and just basically hanging out and talking. I want to find out what knife design deal breakers you guys have. Like here, I'll give you a preview for me. I don't like a harpoon. I'm not a big fan of a harpoon on a blade. That's probably why I got rid of my Hinderer Eclipse, a knife which I sometimes regret getting rid of, but I just could not abide by that harpoon. I love my Umnumzan Tanto, but the Umnumzan clip point can't do it. That harpoon just kills it for me. Pete Davidson, how's it going, sir? How's it going, junkies? A deal breaker for me is not being ambidextrous. Ooh, that's a good one. Being left-handed has stopped me from using and carrying a lot of great knives. Yeah, and some knives you're lucky, like with a Sebenza, they will make some left-handed versions, but you know, lefties are definitely in the minority, so they don't make that many of them. But it's cool that they make them. Have a nice day. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Brother D and Junkalo Nation. Woot, woot. Sir, I was wearing your T-shirt just yesterday. I love that shirt with the big Western buoy on it. Awesome, awesome shirt also. It's one of those shirts that's just the right fit where it kind of makes you look bigger than you are, stronger than you are. And right now I need that because I'm terribly out of shape, having gone to Germany and then come back and then celebrated the holidays with gusto. I am now getting back into it. Ground Fog, nice to have you here, sir. Ground Fog is with us. Who else is in that area? It doesn't surprise me that people make New Year's resolutions at this time of year because New Year's falls at the end of the holidays. And of course, the holidays are spent pigging out. So when you're done with that, you're just like, enough, never again. That's my dad's. I'm not eating the rest of the day. And then like 2 hours later, all peanuts. Let's see. Dead Viking Trolls, nice to have you here, even with that haunting but beautifully rendered avatar there. Excited for this. Frame and liner locks are deal breakers for me. Imagine how many knives that cuts out. For sure, but I got to say one thing, Dead Viking Trolls, is that that kind of limitation is actually rather freeing because then it's much more difficult to be owned by your knives as opposed to owning a collection of knives because there aren't too many that don't fall within that category. Got a lot of cold steels, which is great. Protex with the button locks and now just a lot of button locks, which is great. And then Benchmade, and that has blossomed into all sorts of axis locks. This old sword, nice to have you here, sir. Hope you're all staying sharp, junkies. You too, Bob and Jim. You as well. I hope you are fully on the mend. Deal breaker, tie clips that are too tight. Oh, yeah, right, because you can't really do anything about that. I mean, I guess you can. But who wants to take an expensive tie clip and then bend it? I don't. Tiny knives under 3 inches and pointless blades. Okay. Oh, okay. You mean like cleavers, or extreme sheepfoots? Am I correct about the pointless blades part? Let me know. And the tiny knives I love. It's the intermediate knives. I'm kind of like, like this little tiny knife is charming. Let me show you this, Dave. I know you don't like slip joints, but just for a moment, humor me. It's so nicely done. Tiny little, great action on it. Tiny little gem of a knife you can drop in your pocket. And not for nothing, but Colonel Fairbairn, or maybe it was Applegate, used a knife not about this size, a small pen knife, to kill a captor. And if anyone in the world is going to be able to do that, Dave, that's you. Make use of a small blade. So I would reconsider your hatred of the small blade, or maybe not your hatred, but the deal breakerness of that. Just check it out. You might like it. You're like, Bob, you don't think I know what I like by now? Fernando Salome, good to have you here, sir. Hello there, Knife Junkies. Bob, Jim, miss you all. Glad to be here. Well, it's awesome to have you, man. As always. Will B, also good to have you here. Will is a gentleman junkie. Could just be that this is his new buoy. We will see in about 10 hours. Will B says, deal breakers? For a folder, serrated blades. Really? Lack of a flipper tab is usually a deal breaker, but some knives can overcome that, like the Microtech Amphibian. Oh, God, that is such a nice looking knife. Serrated blades. See, I don't like partially serrated blades that much. I like, if I'm going serrated, like I want full like this. Full Gadilla right here. Give me full serrations on this Talwar. The Talwar, I had to get serrations because it's an upswept blade, and it's already kind of, as you swing, though it's nicely canted to the hand in a downward angle. But as you swing, you're hitting, it's glancing away from the target. So I figured, why not grab on as much as I can with the serrations on this one. But half and half would bum me out on this. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. Hey, all, good evening. Well, good evening to you. Hey, I want to, I have this out here under the knife cam because I have to ask if anyone, I'm not sure if Ketmuk is here yet tonight or if he's going to be here, but this is my Bark River Knives Boon 2, and it's got loose spacers here. And I'm just curious. I'm going to send it in to have it re-glued. I don't want to attempt that. Because it's a beautiful and expensive knife. But I'm just curious if anyone has had experience sending in a Bark River knife for service. This, I just jammed it into a log and I felt it get loose. And, it's not like a knife that receives lots of hard use. So I think it just needs a little extra epoxy. Splitting Slices. Nice to have you here, sir. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies for Thursday Night Knives. Biggest design deal breakers is a fixed blade bird's beak handle without an inner grip length of at least 4.5 inches. Okay. Because otherwise you're jammed in there. And actually I've never, I have not yet shaken your hand, Byron. But I could see how if you have large hands and it's kind of crammed up against a bird's beak, that could be a buzzkill. Well, let me just jump right to something I was going to talk about in a little while. But Splitting Slices is a new channel coming on YouTube, and it's Byron's channel. And you have to go check it out. Well, he has not started posting content yet, but we all know Byron, and he's a great guy, and he's got a great knowledge of knives, and he's a great conversationalist. Even just in written form, he sent me and presumably a whole bunch of other people who are in this letter a beautiful letter, and it was really nice talking about how each one of us had influenced him to get involved in the knife community and start a channel himself. And here is his sticker. I think it's really cool, especially because there's a Pouzon Predator Hunter Bowie there, or just a Pouzon Predator. We have an off-grid. We've got a Rosecraft. We have a Cold Steel. We have that K-bar, cool K-bar hatchet thing. I'm not sure what kind of a cleaver that is, and a 110. And then here's, this is the logo we see on screen when we talk to Byron. So do go check him out and subscribe to his channel, Splitting Slices. And once stuff starts going up there, I know it's going to be awesome because Byron is an awesome dude. All right, Bladetastic. Nice to have you here, sir. That off-grid buoy. Yes, no doubt. Oh, man. You got to check out. his channel is outrageous. Steve Price, he's amazing. He's amazing with a blade. He's got an incredible collection, and he's a first responder, firefighter, and I have immense respect for all of those things. And he's just a cool dude. So definitely go check out Steve Price. Neves Knives, nice to have you here, sir. Happy belated birthday to you. I love a good harpoon. I think it can make a simple design look more aggressive, and it can help bring strength to a tip. Yeah, and it also can give you a good place to rest your thumb or finger sometimes. No, but to me, I am a shallow guy, and it's the look that ultimately gets me. Though on the Eclipse Tonto, I hardly minded it. Like, it was barely that I minded it. But then when I had an opportunity or a lust for something else, I sold it off. And now I regret that. Like, I'm no more hindering. There are certain things I'm never getting rid of, and hinderers are one of them. I only have 4 of them. I only have 4 of them left. Yes, the first world problems, and also questionable choices with money as a younger man. Robert Douglas, nice to have you here, sir. Become ambidextrous. Takes practice, comes with time. The martial art of Kali is very good for helping you get ambidextrous, not with writing necessarily, but with all sorts of movements, like making coffee or using a knife at a cutting board. 5-door, nice to have you here, sir. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, greetings to you. Ooh. Got to whet the whistle. Brian F, nice to have you here, Brian. What's up, Knife fam? He says. Well, what's up with you? I love Thursday. Thursday has always been my favorite since high school, because it kind of feels like it is the beginning of the weekend. And so to me, this is the night. I don't have to. I can just wait till 10. I can come on and talk with all you guys. I love it. Craig Vincent, harpoons belong in seafaring novels. Okay. All right. Let me show you something here. I agree with you. Not knife blades. Just kidding. What's up, junkers? Oh, Craig. Bait and switch there. But let me show you something here. One of my favorite knives, probably my favorite folder from 2023, the Paul Munko design. Mystic, named after his native Mystic, Connecticut, a seafaring town, a whaling town historically. And this design is based on all of that. And it's got that Rex 45 steel, which, to be honest, I haven't really used very hard at all, but it appears to be awesome. And it came razor sharp, and I've only noodled with it a little, babied it and gotten it even. Like, I like it when it's kind of sticky on the edge right now. And this has a bit of a harpoon, but it's also a double peaked buoy, like a SOG. So this harpoon is not only acceptable, but quite fetching. But regularly, not so much. Like a Sponto with a harpoon would be kind of a travesty, I gotta say. Have a Knife Day says, I have arrived. Well, Have a Knife Day, I already spoke to you. So maybe we got those reversed, but it's great to have you here as always. As I mentioned before, well, I keep your challenge coin right here, man, because I don't ever want you to call me out because, well, do you have your challenge coin? Or I guess I have to ask you that. I love this thing. This is awesome. Keep it there. I also have one other thing here, and this is yeah, there you go. EMP EDC's little it's like a poker chip, and then it's got a code on it, and goes to his webpage. Very cool idea. Anyway, Chansy Mills, nice to have you here. Hey guys, I own 3, but I think I'm done with button locks. I don't trust them. I've had one issue with a button lock, and what was it? Oh, it was the Watuga or Watuwaga or whatever it's called, the Watuga. That knife, to me, it did not fail, but it was very, very sticky, and that bummed me out. But that was erring on the side of locked up. I know most people have the problem, and I'm sure this is what you're talking about, of it slipping. I like the design of, and I've only seen CJRB do this on the well, anyway, their first button lock, what the hell is it called? I have the large version of it, the Pyrite. they have like a notch, like a very perfectly machined notch, and then the plunger fits perfectly into that. It's not a cone-shaped divot that the plunge lock is supposed to be ever, pushing ever further into. It is a notch that is exactly machined to that and to the depth and everything, as far as I can tell, and it fits in there perfectly. And yeah, so I like CJRBs. I really trust that button lock in particular. But I think that'll pretty much have it down. Let's see, Romeo Jr. Tupas. Hello, Bob. Nice. Well, hello to you, sir. Nice looking Chris sword on your back. Greetings from Davao City, Philippines. Man, thank you. Nice to have you here. I have a couple of I'm very proud of my Filipino swords. I love the stuff from the South. Definitely. I love the barong here. This one, this Talibang, was my dad's sword that he got, I don't know, when he was in school, as a bring back from World War II that someone else got. And well, anyway, I love my Filipino stuff. I think their swords and their blade culture is the most interesting. And also the most wieldable, all being around 29 to 32 inches, except for the Compilan. That's a big one. Will be. I wasn't thinking size. I don't even consider folders less than 3 1/4 and folders under 4 inches. Yeah. Yep. For me, it's 3 1/4. I like it. The Yojimbo and a couple of other the Cayman, the Cayman EDC, but mostly for me, it's 3.5 to 4. Pedro Armstrong says, howdy. Well, Pedro, good to have you here, sir. Have a Knife Day says, the only serrations I am partial to are VEF serrations. That's right. I remember that. And man, wicked are the VEF serrations. Indeed. Those guys, the Culbertsons, I love them. Hisatsu 5 and Matthew Culbertson. I've been following them for years. They always put VEF serrations on their cold steels, and then they go cut meat on trees. I love it. I need to do that. I need to get out and do more of that. We have a bamboo forest close by that can approximate bone, get some pork loin and have a recipe ready so my wife doesn't totally freak out, make a meat man and use some of these weapons and, see what they actually do. I'm sure it's scary. Northern Knives, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Greetings from Alaska. Winter beard is coming in nice, Bob. Why, thank you, sir. Looks even bigger now that I finally got my ears lowered. 5 Door says, deal breakers, button lock, generic titanium with inlays, also all uses of carbon fiber. All right, 5 Door. By the way, your collection is amazing. And I applaud you for having a Chupacabra. I love Dominion Bladeworks, and I don't really know anyone who has anything of his. That is awesome. So I am not impugning your taste, but when you look at some new carbon fibers, they are dazzling. They are beautiful. The basket weave stuff, I totally get. That should be saved for like jet airplane wings and Corvettes and stuff like that. But things like the swirling carbon fiber and this kind of thing, some of it's really beautiful. Blade Ogre says, hello all. Well, Blade Ogre, nice to have you here, sir. Chris will tell us his 10 knives shortly after we do a pocket check, because he's always got a cool loadout, always. Brian F., nice to have you here, Brian. Bob, I've recently jumped head first into off-grid knives Okay, sorry. Let me reread that. Bob, I've recently jumped headfirst into off-grid knives after seeing your review of the Cayman XL and XXL. So in the last 2 weeks, both the XL and the XXL Cayman Ridgeback Enforcer and Badger. Man, I like how you work. The Ridgeback is great. Did you get the Ridgeback with the full flat grind or the Scandi? Doesn't matter, either of them. They're both great. The one with the full flat grind is noticeably lighter, but they're both awesome. This old sword says, more button locks should be as robust as the original Hogue Elishewitz design plunge locks. Right. We shan't we we shan't pretend that button locks are new. They have been around a while, but getting them to work with flippers and all that has been something. But Alan Elishewitz is a legend. And let me just tell a quick story. After I greet Ryan, it's nice to have you here, sir. Hi guys, he says. Hello to you, sir. I heard something the other day that your logo reminded me of, but I'll tell you later. Anyway, Alan Elishewitz, good friend of mine, former Marine Corps sniper, uh, teaches firearms to upper crusties around here, and just people who want to learn. But that's his target market. Anyway, great guy. He went up to the SIG camp in New Hampshire. I think it was New Hampshire to become a SIG, not an armorer, but a SIG expert. And anyway, Alan Elishewitz was there at that SIG camp. It was a week long. It was shooting and doing different stuff with SIG Sauer pistols and such, and I guess rifles. But they would go on these shooting courses and they had to team up with someone. My buddy happened to team up with Alan Elishewitz, and stop me if you've heard this. I'm sure I've told it, but he emailed me or texted me. He's like, Bob, do you know who Alan Elishewitz is? Oh, he's a legend. This and that. And I had the honor of having him on the show, but it was before video. Damn it. Got to have him back on, all this stuff. And he says, yeah, man, he is amazing. So Alan Elishewitz was Force Recon Marine Corps. He was in Force Recon in the Marine Corps, and everyone shows up to this shooting exercise where they have to walk through a path and shoot things, shoot targets, human-looking targets, and they're all tacked out with their drop holsters and their vests and all this stuff. And Alan Elishewitz shows up in jeans and a blazer and just a shirt and had his holstered gun. He just kind of did the whole course dressed up like he was going to, dinner at 5. And I thought that was a cool story because he's a really cool guy. If you've met him at Blade Show, he's very approachable, but he's also a legend in terms of knife design. And he's one of the OGs, making tactical folders in the early 90s and all that. Anyway, sorry, long-winded. Craig Vincent says that Mystic is awesome, Bob. I'd call it a Harbowie. Yeah, you could call it that. I'm a Connecticut native. Glad to see my state represented in knife design. Yeah, man, I like Connecticut, especially the pizza. But I did a freelance job up in Connecticut at one point in my younger years, and I had to take a train up there. And it was really cool just to take a train up the East Coast and go to Connecticut, and you get out and you hear foghorns and all that. It's cool. Will B said, I would like to see more compression style button locks like the Spyderco Smock or the Vosteed RS Chaos. Something about that rubs me wrong. Will, what is it? Is it? I'm sure it's great, and I'm sure it's addictive and fidgety. Is it like, since we're talking about pizza, is it like the pineapple ham pizza that I refuse to admit that I love because I'm, my people would be rolling in their grave, or wouldn't they just say, oh, it's a great meal and you add a great ingredient? And so yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it's kind of cheating. It's not cheating, Bob. It's just a button actuating the thing. I know, but something about it I don't like. It's clunky or something. It's like one extra. That's like what I don't like about the kick stop, for instance. Like, I don't hate flippers that much that I need it to hide and have another mechanism in there that could go wrong in a tactical situation. Of course, that's not what I'm talking about. But, think about getting it in the sand. I don't know, just like extra. It's extra to go wrong. Kep McNessart, great to have you here, sir. I was just inquiring before you showed up. Have you ever used Bark River Knives warranty? I have loose spacers on this awesome Boon 2, and I need that taken care of. Kepmuk says, a design deal breaker for me is a sawback on a fixed blade. Yeah. I could see that. If you're an outdoorsman, sawback could really just destroy your baton or hurt your hand if you need the back of, or whatever, or if you're going to use it as a pull blade. And if you're going to fight with it, you don't need a saw blade getting all hung up on everything. So I don't know, like, especially Rambo. Why would Rambo have? Okay, we won't have to get into that. But it seems like those teeth were maybe a little much if you had to use it. Like he stabs the pig, he hunts the pig. Well, don't those giant serrations get caught up in bone and sinew and stuff? Doesn't that? So I failed to see, but I guess you can make notches with those big giant serrations if you're making a trap or a shelter. Daniel Huff. I'm not a survivalist, obviously, but I just had to say that. Daniel Huff, it is very nice to have you here. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Daniel, when I was growing up, there was a bakery close by called Huff. It was the Huff Bakery, spelled the same way, and it was anyone who was anyone got their cake from the Huff Bakery. So you're making me hungry. Sword XXXY says, "G'day." Well, first of all, Sword, nice to have you here, sir. G'day. Never met a knife I didn't like, but sawbacks and some serrations come close. I was showing off the cold steel serrations. I do love the cold steel serrations, but I love Spyderco serrations more. I think they both do a great job, but I like Spyderco serrations. Vic Nilla, nice to have you here, Vic. And that's a name I am more than used to saying. Bob, should I get coated or uncoated Jack Wolf tomorrow? Please help. Funny you should ask. All right, let's go over this because I have the first iteration uncoated and the second coated. So you decide. I will say, I'm really digging this coated version. So I have the new, the Jack Wolf knife that's dropping tomorrow. This is the second version or iteration, I guess I would say. Second release is accurate of the sharpshooter, and there are a few changes. There's a long pull there instead of a nail nick, which I have to say I do wish he put on the other side. But Ben knows his traditionals like no one else. It does help in pinching open this blade, I must say. So you have a larger sharpening notch. You have a triple fluted bolster here as opposed to a single fluted, and then the different options here. Let me show you. This is I'll show them up close next to each other. I have not actually. All right, someone else has to let me know. Does this current version have the grinder satin like this? Or is it hand rubbed like the second version of the low drag? Let me know about that. I'm not sure, but what do you think? I think that this blue and black is stunning. I have a feeling this one's gonna fly off the shelf. I think it's beautiful. I love the long pull on this, man. It is gorgeous. And you say, yeah, I know it's beautiful. How does it work? Well, it works like a Jack Wolf knife. It's amazing. And actually the action on it is slightly stiffer, I'd say. Yeah. The pull on this is like a solid 8 on that totally arbitrary scale of opening. But I would say the hardest knife I have is this big GEC I have. Hardest knife to open, and that one makes me feel uncomfortable, and it requires a certain stage in fingernail growth to be comfortable with. I'm going to leave these here. We will get back to this, but I highly recommend you get one of them tomorrow. But that black blade is pretty gorgeous next to that blue, I gotta say. Danzig rules. Danzig, is that Danzig like the musician or Danzig like the city? Let's say Danzig. Danzig rules. Nice to have you here, sir. Rock texturing on the blade. All kinds of crap gets stuck in it, especially food and blood. Interesting. Yeah. Some people have it. I have a few blades that I really like it on, or a few makers. I guess I should say, like I love Black Rock knives, and he does that. And I like Stroop knives, and he does that. That rock texturing can also. I've seen people accuse people of having bad grinding, like, oh, you just don't know how to grind a straight a straight bevel or a good plunge grind, so you obscure it with all of this kind of divoting and stuff. And as someone accused Ken Vahikite of BlackRock a few years ago of that, and so he painstakingly showed his process, which he didn't have to, but it was cool to see. But just to show off that look, jerk, I can grind my thing. This is my aesthetic, and so it was nice to see. But yeah, I hear you on the texturing. I don't think it looks right all the time, but certain designs. Ryan F says Scandi grind. I hear you, Scandi grind. But what about this though? I just got this this weekend. Here's the story. I'm gonna close these up. You let me know if you want me to open these back up. But let me just say, actually, before I close these down and get into my more a knife story here, or just my story from the weekend. These do drop tomorrow. That's Friday, January 19th. Sorry, a little slow. January 19th. I believe it's 12 o'clock Mountain Time. I think. But anyway, you go to the dealers. You go to Jack Wolf Knives. There's a list of dealers. He's in a lot of places. His capacity, I keep saying him, but I'm talking about Ben Belk and Jack Wolf Knives. Their capacity has expanded. They're able to have knives in stock at these sites, which is great to see. And but certain models are more desired than others, and it's hard to tell what. But I have a feeling this one is going to be kind of in line with with anything in that purple that people love so much, that purple carbon fiber. So anyway, putting this away, and I want to talk about that. But first, Gus Beck says, "Good evening, nice knife junkies." Well, Gus Beck, good evening to you, sir. New knife day with my first Hinderer. Awesome, man. I got the MX18 3.5 inch in spear point S45 VN Jade G10. Love that. I have my my Warncliffe of that description in JG10 and battle bronze dockside finish. That sounds cool. I also have a cold steel, the cold steel working man. Oh, that's a great knife. That's a good banger, especially next to your brand new Hinderer. Battle bronze dockside finish. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I've seen it, but I like the image it conjures up, like ships. We're talking maritime tonight. Robert Strebin. Good to have you here, Robert. Hey, Bob, and all the other knife junkies. Well, we all say hello to you. I have tomorrow off of work, so I'm able to stay up for your live. Nice. Very nice. Salud. Cheers to you, sir. I do not have tomorrow off, but they're threatening snow, and around here, oftentimes it's like, oh my God, it's going to snow. And then nothing happens. But you know the story. Tomorrow, there will probably be snow right about the time I have to be driving to work. Pete Davidson says, I really, really don't like frame locks. Sorry. Really? What about it, Pete? What about frame locks don't you like? Stephen Clayton. Nice to have you here, Stephen Clayton Jr. I'm getting Oh, no, man. I mean, yes, man. I'm saying no because I felt the envy set in. Envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. And so I had to say, no, man, push it aside. But the Sapper, that's such a beautiful knife. That's the collaboration between Imre Morgenstern and Tim Kell of Tim Kell Knives. And to date, my favorite of his large fixed blades. I'm such a huge T-Kel Knives carrier. I carry either the Night Stalker or the BD1 or the MR1, which is basically the Night Stalker just ground reverse, like a Picol grip. Carry them all the time, and I never ever used to carry knives on the belt in the front like this. But it just hides. It just sits against the body so perfectly. Even a T-shirt hides it. So nicely done, sir. I love it. I love it. The Sapper, well done. Stephen, I'm going to go cry, and I'll be back in a minute. Cry. You're like, Bob, you could get one. Yes, I could, and I'm going to. Stephen Clayton says, good evening. I'm not a fan of fully serrated blades, but you are a fan of the Sapper. Jay McConnell, nice to have you here, Jay. You too could be winning this Cayman XXL tonight because you are a gentleman junkie. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind support. Jay says, Evening Bob, Jim, and Junkies, blade stocks too thick for the intended use are a deal breaker for me. I'm looking at you, Medford. What about Midgard's Messer with their giant half-inch bladed behemoth I keep seeing around? People love that knife, and people also love the other big Midgard Messer knives. And when I say people, I mean trusted voices. Yeah, there's something to it, and they have that giant folder, which was fun to check out at Blade Show. So they're doing some cool stuff. Christopher Dilzer says finger grooves. Well, Christopher, good to have you here. By the way, thanks for joining the conversation. Finger grooves and any handle that forces me to hold it in one way. Oh, what about this? What about this one, Christopher? Would you make an exception for this? The 1918 trench dagger. Would you make an exception? If this forces your hand, and you know what? I don't have huge hands, but maybe the guys, the average soldier in World War II, or in, I guess, 1918. I'm sorry, right after World War One, or when did World War One end? 1917, I guess. Anyway, the hands may have been a little smaller than the average hand is today, because this fits my hand perfectly. And other knuckle dusters I have, just not quite as comfortable. I mean, that's okay. That's okay in a pinch. But this, I would actually feel quite comfortable hitting someone with. The others would turn, and I mean, a lot of that has to do with this really chunky bronze handle too. But I think you have to make an exception. But I hear you with the finger grooves and the excessive contouring, and that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I like them, but I could see why some might not. Doug Bolt, I'm equal opportunity. I'll take it all. I don't care if it's totally neutral or totally crazy. I'll take it all. Doug Bolt says, greetings, Bob. Doug, greetings to you, sir. How's your evening going? Happy Thursday night knives to you. Pete Davidson just got a Spyderco Cricket with Nishijin handles in the mail today. I like the pattern of the fiber. That is a nice exception to my carbon fiber rules. My carbon fiber rule I don't like with regular patterns, but that's actually a pretty nice one. The Nishijin, but that relies on the blue, doesn't it? So this weekend, we went up to the mountains for a couple of days. We went to an antique place, and my daughter immediately broke something, and the ladies sure did not make me feel good about it. So of course I bought that $15 piece of crystal whatever vasery. I'm not sure what it was. Something sitting on a table. It was also sitting next to a typewriter and an old dial phone, which is something my younger daughter is dying to have. Like that setup. If she could have a cigarette and an ashtray, I'm sure she'd take that too. But she wants the typewriter and the old phone. So she started playing with it. And in doing so, I think she did the swipe of the typewriter and it knocked the crystal, because I was over looking at a case of knives, and I heard that scenario play out. And I was like, I know that's Olympia. And it was. So anyway, I bought that crystal thing. And then I bought this old busted ass Barlow that some farmer up there in mid Virginia used to carry, but it's kind of cool. It has an old pruning blade on it. I've never seen, I don't think, a Barlow with a pruning blade, and then a broken off, what I'm assuming is a pen blade there. The bolsters, the cheap kind of 60s stamped bolsters that are rattling, and a fake sort of hollow plastic saw cut bone. It's really cool, and someone used the hell out of this knife. That's what I love the most is that this thing was just used, and this was in some dude's pocket for years, and just got used and used and used out on the farm. Or who knows? Maybe it was some woman's knife and it was her gardening knife. But I have a feeling if it were a woman's knife, it would look better than this. But anyway, thrashed on and loved. This was my $9 make amends to the mean ladies who made me feel bad about my daughter who was exhibiting youthful exuberance, and these crones had to make me feel bad. But no, I shouldn't say that. They were fine. They were fine. But I got this. And then we walked down the hall, and it was one of those kind of indoor antique markets. And there was a guy, former Marine with a shop there, and he was selling some stuff. And he had the ultimate collection of gas station knives. And I just couldn't. But then I saw this, and I was like, you know what, man? I have wanted a Mora companion forever, and in the green as well. And it was there for $24. So I bought it from the guy, aren't I a great guy? I didn't mean to make it sound like that, but I was happy that I saw this knife that I've always wanted. And I just recently was stalking this, like, oh, maybe I could accidentally drop this in the next Amazon pet food order. And so I was just recently looking at it anyway. And so I was excited or happy to buy it from not Amazon or some nameless corporation, but from this guy in particular, because he was actually really nice too. We were talking and blah, blah, blah. But what a great knife. I see what it is. I see why people love the Mora companion. But there's that Scandi grind. Who hates that Scandi grind? Can't remember. Hey, Jim, did I just blab over a comment and totally miss it? Sorry if I did. Keon GR75. Let's see. Cayenne. I'm gonna say Cayenne. I'm gonna say that. And you can change me if I'm wrong. Cayenne GR78. Greetings to all from Greece. Thank you. Nice to have you here. I have my first OTF in the mail, waiting customs clearance for a month now. Yikes. Only you fellow knife junkies would understand my frustration. You want to storm the airport, dude. I know your frustration. I get it. I love Greece. I've been to Athens, but I spent my honeymoon two weeks on Crete, and it was magical and amazing. So anyway, love it. And I'm not the kind of guy who uses magical often. It was awesome. Rabbit stiffato is a delicious meal. Also, I know Greece is a very, very, very big, but anyway, very good to have you here. Christopher Dilzer says the 1918 gets a pass for being a cool piece of history. All right. I figured you'd be reasonable. Eugene Krabs, nice to have you here, Eugene. Really not a fan of the look of G. Mascus. Okay. Although some unexplained irrational reason, I don't mind G. Carta. Well, G. Carta is beautiful and very, very, very small batch made by one dude and his assistant or his partner was his son. No, I'm sorry. His son was doing it with him, and because it's GL Hansen and Son. But I know he's off doing other stuff. So basically, that stuff is unique and handmade, and there's something inherent to stuff that's unique and handmade that just shines through, and you know it. I don't know that G10 isn't totally batch made. I think the G Mascus, the G10 G Mascus stuff is probably huge batch made, so lacks that inherent quality. Oh my God, I'm just talking. And this is because no sugar and no alcohol, because I've been such a pig lately, and it's just caffeine. So here you go. Doug Bowles says, Bob, I found a little SOG flash in my drawer. Love the SOG flash. Carry it until I get a knife to replace my lost SOG. Hey, Jim, cut to the knife cam for a second. I got to grab something to show him real quick. Something that our good friend Dave, thank you, sir. Our good friend Dave sent here, and it's very much in the spirit of the SOG flash. It's this tiny, super thin Pat D's Nuts. Nice to have you here, Pat. Good to have you here, sir. Good evening, all. He says, I can't do this with my left hand for some reason, but this thing is super thin. What's this called? The Slim Jim XL. What a cool little knife. It's tiny, it's thin, it's slim, it's all metal. It's a folded over, it's an integral folded over piece of metal of steel with a backlock and a spring, and it's a great, cool knife. I really like it. But you said Sog Flash. That reminded me of the Sog Flash. Great find, as far as I'm concerned. To me, I put that in a similar boat with, and I'm sure some people will snicker, but a similar boat with like the Kershaw onion leak, kind of a similar lineage. I guess they've been around about as long, but the SOG definitely did not make the same impact on the knife world and knife history. I'm not suggesting something as crazy as that. All right, so I want to show you this cool thing. We were talking about the Paul Munko designed Mystic here. Paul Munko's company is Colorful Filth. And he's a graphic designer and he designs knives. The Cosmos just came out. I got to get that knife. I just haven't yet. But beautiful. I love Paul Munko's designs, but this one really hit me size-wise. Like his Comet is a beautiful knife, but just real small. I just knew I wouldn't end up carrying it when I saw. And then the Clairvoyant, too sheep's footy for my taste. But intriguing, and then this came out, and I was like, yes, that's the one for me. And now the Cosmos is another yes, that's the one for me. Just haven't gotten it yet. It'd be nice if they matched, but I think this Cosmos has all carbon fiber. Okay, I'm blabbing. So I got this from Northern Knives. Now this is a collaboration between Northern Knives, Colorful Filth, and it's not in the lower third, sorry, and Northwest Lynch Northwest, the clip company. And man, they have a cool logo there. It's like a Doberman with spikes on its collar, which, by the way, isn't just to look tough. Those spikes, when dogs have spikes on their collar, that's so other dogs don't bite them, I think. Anyway, I'm just making that up. All right, so this comes off, and look at the things they've been up to here. So here is a Lynch Northwest. What do they call these? Well, first of all, it's a key ring, but a flight tag, right? So these are on missiles and things, on jets as they sit on the runway, and then as the pilot walks around, or maybe the crew chief walks around to inspect the plane before a mission or a flight or something, they pull these tags. Am I right about that? But they have also become this kind of cool sort of EDC decorative kind of semi-useful thing. Some cord. I don't mean semi-useful that this is totally useful, but you know what I mean? Like it's not an actual flight tag, but in the vein thereof. And here we have a bronzed Northwest clip. And you know what? I'm unsure of what knife this fits. Let me know. Let me know in the comments here. Which knife this fits. It's beautifully bronze though, man. These Lynch clips are cool. Here we have the Colorful Filth. This is a prototype titanium. It's super light, man. It's really light, and it's shaped like a knife. It kind of fits the hand perfectly, and it's got let's see, what is this called? Let's see, this is the let's see, Cerakote anodized space bar. Oh, interstellar space bar. Okay, so it's a pry bar and a bottle opener, and I'm not sure what this notch is for, but it's got this really cool design work in it, and it's anodized and Cerakoted. That anodization is beautiful. Look at that. So this is a really cool little project that they've been working on, and we have it here to give away. We're not going to give it away today because we're going to give away the Cayman XL this time, but this will be open to all. We'll do it next week. Let's give this away next week. A really cool package. Again, thanks to the guys at Northern Knives. Thank you so much. Not only for your support, but for sending us this interesting stuff and exposing us. And, you know, you sent that Malibu that we gave away last month. That was such a beautiful knife. And I had a quick chance to paw one at Blade Show like 2 years ago. So to have one here and sort of foster it until I sent it along was so nice, man. It was really nice. Well, first of all, the blade was really nice, but also a very kind gesture on your part. So you were not supposed to open that or show it before. Oh, God damn it. Oh, shit. I'm such an idiot. I am such a freaking idiot. Dude, I am so sorry. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, sorry. And I've talked a lot too. Oh, I feel terrible. I am sorry. Mark Salva, good evening, junkies. Good evening, Mark. I'm sorry. I just made an ass of myself and I'm totally mortified and embarrassed. So I apologize. Infidels Unlimited. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, fellow Earthlings and knife freaks. Freak I am. Well, hopefully the crowd is small and this will Pedro Armstrong, RIP instructions unclear, spoilers happening. No, it's me. I'm the one. In a text to me, it was clear, and now I'm remembering it. I'm just a freaking idiot sometimes. I apologize. Pat D's Nuts says, when doing pre-flight, I believe they are pulling the covers off of the sensors that measures temperatures, altitude, etc. And they also check hatches to make sure that nothing pops open. Pete Davidson apparently thinks that's funny. Bob, you mongoose. Yeah, mongoose. I like that. Northern Knives. None of us saw nothing. Pedro Armstrong saw what, Five Door? Yes, exactly. These are not the droids you're looking for. Here I'm like, these guys are the best. They're so nice. Here, let me just stab this knife right in the back. No, I'm sorry. That was obviously a mistake. With all that embarrassment in mind, I think it's time we get to a pocket check. So this is what I was carrying in my front pocket today. This is the new Pinkerton ringed inversion, and I'm absolutely adoring it. So I got the prototype from Dirk just to visit with a while ago. He sent it to a number of people. Dave, I know he sent it to Dave, and we all liked it, and he asked for feedback, and I'm sure we all gave our suggestions or whatever. Most of it was about the blade, and man, he did a beautiful job with this blade. But that ring feature is awesome. Sword says, Bob, if it makes you feel any better, it's Friday here, so it's nearly Saturday. Yeah, thank you. That's great. But it's in Alaska, it's even further behind me right now. Craig Vincent, what happens on TNK stays on TNK. If we can keep that would be lovely. And then no one watches until Saturday. Yeah. So a beautifully crafted pick haul style knife based on his original inversion. I'm not sure if this is the original, but this is the one that we all first saw, which was produced by Kaiser. And exhibited a lot of greatness. I love the terraced handle. I love the option for this brass button that you can wave the frame lock open with. The really low profile flipper tab is great. I even love and I'll say it because it's kind of apropos here, reverse Tonto. Uh, but one of the things that he changed here in going from the Kaiser design to the, he changed the handle contours, but in going from this to his own, this is under his own shingle, is the blade is much more penetrative now. And we saw that in this prototype, which I'm lucky enough to own. He made a number of these green handled prototypes and gifted them to a number of us, and I'm can count myself amongst the lucky few. And this was the first version with that more crow's beak blade, if you will. And I think he did an outstanding job in just turning this, which is already super cool. And don't get me wrong, you could do some serious damage with this, but people like Ryan Atkinson, you know him as Fieldworks on Instagram. He's right now he's on Taylor Swift, I believe, Taylor Swift's concert, but he's a bodyguard. When I talked to him here in June or May, he was down, he was bodyguarding Drake. So he's a big time dude, and he's known for his Libre fighting and his Pikal knife collection. And he weighed in on the blade and used a blade more like this at first, and said that on those moving pig carcasses, this just did not slip in as well as he wanted. And so Dirk started making changes and made it more like this. And so here it is today, ready to slip into those hanging, swinging pig carcasses. And then you see the ring and you say, but Bob, aren't you worried about degloving your finger? Isn't that the term they say, degloving? It's horrible, horrible term, horrible thing to happen. But the concept is, can't your finger get stuck in there and kind of rip off the skin right off the bone? And yeah, I guess you could. I guess that's a real possibility on a ringed knife. On this ringed knife in particular, though, it's the inversion with the ring just popped right on. It's not the inversion with the ring over here or off on a weird angle. It is perfect so that you can make a perfect fist. This is one of the best ringed, if not the best ringed knife ever, because I make no accommodations when I make a fist. I don't have to change at all. Fits perfectly. And you can tell why. It's just boom. It's just coming. If the ring weren't there, I'd be making that fist anyway. But the ring is there and your finger just slips right through. So I don't know. I haven't pressure tested it. Like I said, I got to make my meat man and all that. But this combined with the thumb on the back here, or the thumb on the back of the ring, I think you're in a pretty good spot here if you need to use this. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. The one thing about the ring is that it's not as versatile as this. Like when I EDC this, which I did for a while, you can use it like a regular knife. Actually, it works great as a regular knife. And then you can also just draw it out and have it, the fun way too, or, just pull it out in reverse grip. But as a regular knife works great. The ring kind of same thing with this one, but with the ring, not so much, not as comfortable, but super cool knife. Anyway, had this in my pocket. Sorry, this is sort of a state of the collection because this is brand new to me. So I know a number of us got this, and Dirk is sending me one with the black blade and ring. I'm presuming the ring is also black, and we're giving that away here on Thursday Night Knives. So if you like the look of this beautiful orange peel titanium, that's orange peel. It's my only knife with orange peel texture. I really like it. But if you like this knife and can imagine it with a black blade and could see it in your pocket, we're going to give it away here. Dirk will be present. I'm not sure when we're going to do it, but I'll make a video or two on it, show it off, and then we'll decide on a date. But yeah, be given away right here, and it is so cool. And now I want the one with the black blade, so I'm going to be jealous of whoever wins it. All right. Also on me today, I had my new Loosahatchee Jack from Rosecraft Knives. They just came out with a second run of these, and I got the email from Traditional Pocket Knives. That's the only email I look at or don't unsubscribe from. And though the unsubscribe never works, they always track you down, especially when your email address is the Knife Junkie. You know, they're just like. But anyway, beautiful Barlow style knife. I would say that even though the bolster, it's not exactly a Barlow. I shouldn't say that. Actually, it's just a jackknife with a very British looking big bellied descended point or low point clip point blade. Love it. D2. You've got the nail neck. Another one that I wish, not nail neck, I'm sorry, the long pull. Another one that I wish they had the long pull on both sides. I guess that's not traditionally done, so that's not why it's done here. But I do wish they did that, only because it makes it easier to pinch open. Beautiful orange scales here with that dragon scale texturing, or the dragon scale jigging, not jigging, jigging, yeah, jigging. And sort of a oddly muddy looking medium in the grooves to make the grooves stand out. I gotta say, I'm not exactly psyched about it. I do love the handles. They're beautiful. I love the orange. Really nicely done. But the whatever it is that's filling in the grooves to make them pronounced looks like mud. It looks like I had it in my pocket and I was on an adventure and I got back and I cleaned the blade and the bolster, but I didn't clean the bone. Anyway, a great knife. I really like Rosecraft blades. I've got 4 of them now, including this cool little slip joint I was showing off before, the Awanada. And I think they do great work. Who else does great work? Michael Jarvis of Auxiliary Manufacturing. Today, I also had my pocket buoy on me today. His Auxiliary Manufacturing's new product came out right around Christmas time, and a lot of people have this knife and love this knife. And he's been pushing it and has a beautiful, I say that word so much, but I guess I just love knives. But he's got a great body of photography on this knife. Whoever he has taking his pictures, it's probably him or maybe his wife. Talented couple there. Just doing really nice photographs of these. They come in 2 different kinds of G10. I love this orange and green. Big fan of that color combo. There's also one with a ivory and sand that's very tasteful and fetching. It's like what you wear to a that's the pocket buoy you carry to a Hamptons party, you know, when you're wearing your linen suit, you know, and your loafers. But I really like that color combination, very tasteful. And then there's a marbled carbon fiber and then a Sukamaki wrap that is beautiful. I love that Japanese wrap. So good. This one I carry with the cord, have it lashed to my belt, and then I just put this in my waistband, and it just stays there next to the body. If I need it, I just tug on it. The sheath dangles by the waist or by the knees, and then you just clip it back in. All right, last up, my emotional support knife today, keeping me sane and just keeping me amazed, is the Kershaw Iridium. I freaking love this knife. This, excuse me, this thing is great. It's my favorite crossbar lock to use. I love it. I like it better than Hogue. I like it better than Benchmade. I like it better than Vosteed. I like it better than whatever other. This is my favorite of all the crossbar locks that I have. Let me see if I can make it focus. And it is so I'm constantly checking for blade play because the action is just so good. It seems like it's got to be loose, but it ain't. Black aluminum, anodized aluminum, I really like. For some reason, I sort of waited on the Iridium, and then when I saw the black model, it just moved me. I think sometimes when you see an all black knife, you can really scope the entire profile of a knife, and you can just kind of, I don't know, you can see it better, and against a white background, obviously. And I could see it better, and I said, Iridium, you are mine. But I love this sort of symmetrical spear-shaped blade with the asymmetrical swedge on it. It's very nicely ground. It's very thin and it cuts really nicely. And this is, what is this? Yeah, D2. The odd thing is that, I mean, you guys know me. I pick certain knives, like for instance, my off-grid knives are my favorite cardboard knives. But this one, I gave a good go through a good bunch of cardboard, but not so much that I expected it to wear the coating off. So a little surprised about that. You know, the amount that made this wear off, you know, most other knives that I have would laugh at. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but I don't mind it because I think it looks cool. Like, I've used this knife for years, and you know, but I haven't really. I've flipped it an awful lot because it gives me that emotional support I'm going for. All right, so this is what I had on me today, and I love that the fixed blade I had on me was the smallest of everything. What were you guys carrying? Let me know. Also, what knives bring you that emotional support? Doesn't have to be fidgety, or it can be this kind of fidgety, or emotional support recently has been coming in the form of Victorinox. You know, never thought that would happen. Speaking of which, I have a cool knife I'm going to show you in just a minute. But first, let's give away this buoy. It's burning a hole in my pocket, and it might just end up assimilating itself on the buoy shelf. Can't have that. One guess what I'm carrying now. Is it this? Is it this? I don't know. Let me know. I hope it's this, because that would be cool. Wilby says Grimsmo Norseman, Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto, Demco 8020S. Slim? Is that Slim? Microtech Amphibian, my recent, like, that's the one I got to get. Let's see. It's what? It wasn't a knife though, Jim. The Axial Shift, the Civivi Chevalier, the Wee Stonefish, the Riot Exo, the Olight Warrior Nano, and the Karis Bolt V2. That Karis Bolt, you carry that one quite a bit. We're going to have to see what that is. Wee Stonefish, I absolutely love that. The one out of that whole group that just doesn't, I know it's awesome, but the Chevalier, just, I don't know, sheep's foot. That's one of those pointless blades that was mentioned earlier. Not pointless like it has no point, but it just has no point. Pedro Armstrong says today's carry is a key bar with an iMini 2 and an i5R EOS. So Pedro, no blade on you. Is that right? Or is the iMini 2, is that the blade? Because I know Keybar has some blades that they put in there. So let me know about that. I don't know much about the Keybar, though I know it's been around a long time, and it's an old school knife world, like, forums success story. Pete Davidson says, I had a blackjack. Oh, nice. Oh, is that the little dagger, the boot dagger, but it looks like a skiing do, sort of? It's like a waist-wasted handle. I had the Blackjack Blackmore 2000 on me today. I'm going to swap it out for a San Mai Peacekeeper tonight. Yes, Pete. Well done, sir. Lynn Thompson would be proud. Pete Davidson says, those Pinkerton folders make me want to pull out my Spyderco Pikal folder. That's a cool one, man. I like that Pikal folder. I would like to add that to my collection. And another cool thing about that is it comes with a trainer that's the same size and weight. Eugene Krabs says, is that Pikal a production or custom? This was one that was a pre-order. I'm not sure if he's still selling these or if it was just what was pre-ordered, actually. I need to find that out so I can. So check out Dirk Pinkerton's Instagram or his website. I should know this. I am not sure. I think that these were just for, he announced it, and people who ordered it, kind of like the Nova one. Daniel Huff says today's carry was the Victorinox multi-tool. Which one, Daniel? Let me know. I've been liking these Victorinoxes. Jay McConnell says today I was carrying a Burgundy Micarta Mini Adamas. Burgundy Micarta. The Nova one also with Burgundy Micarta. Love it. And the Alox Cadet. Very nice, Jay. Jay McConnell seems to be a class act. And I'm not just saying that because he was carrying the Nova one today, but that does help. Daniel Huff says today's carry was a Victorinox multi-tool, Rough Rider denim micarta canoe. Oh, very nice. And an Olight i5 TEOS. Very, very cool. I love Olights. I love canoes. I am doing a project right now with a canoe knife. And it does not have to do with me OEMing a canoe knife. So don't get excited. That would be cool though. But I'll tell you what it is when it's ready. Five Door says McNee's Mac 2 Tonto GEC and GEC 49 today. Switched to the nightshade at home. Love that nightshade, and I love the Mac 2 also. That's the 3.5, right? Inch version. Ketmook says today I'm carrying the Custom Simple from Bear Forest Knives, a native 5. And the RCB, the Rosecraft Blades Beaver Creek Barlow. That Beaver Creek Barlow was a real temptation. But being superficial, something about the look of the blade, I know. God, don't be so stupid, Bob. I know. But as I proved tonight, handily, I can be guilty of that. Mark says CRKT Spew. That's a cool one. Always. That's such a cool knife. That's a Alan Foltz knife, and I'm gonna have Alan on the show. I'm very much looking forward to that. Just don't know when. CRKT Spew. Always. The Dagger Resident and Demco 80 20.5 and the Swiss Army Knife Classic. Good one to always have on the keychain is the Classic. And Dagger, what an interesting and weird company out of Russia. They're not weird. But they have an interesting design aesthetic, I think. I love the clip. I have a Dagger knife that that came to me through Dave. We did a giveaway of it. It was supposed to go up to Canada, and the gentleman I was supposed to send it to was like, all the rigmarole you have to go through to get me that knife that I can't carry. Just keep it yourself. So being a gift to me, I have to keep it. And so I carry it every once in a while. I would carry it more if it didn't have that clip. That I don't like the skull motif in general, because I was kind of into that in high school, and I kind of feel, and so for me, that's something older. Different part of my journey is the skull thing, and I definitely don't want to attract attention, with a skull. That's why the Chavez, the Chavez knives, right? That's why I was always able to not spend money on them, because the skull clip was a deal breaker. There's one total deal breaker. Infidels Unlimited said the only knife in my pocket today was lovingly my Hogtooth Knives EDC Tonto. Very nice. Oh, in tan linen micarta. That sounds nice. In fact, I looked today on the website, and I think it is the very same photo as the one he has on the site. That's cool. God, so I was just sitting here contemplating the Nova 2, which is something that will be happening this year. Prototype. I don't know, in the offing somewhat soonish. I have 2 other expenses I have to take care of first, but because I pay for my prototypes, you got to do that. And I'm also mulling over the color of the handle. And I'm pretty much, I know what it is. Craig Vincent says today's carry the Cold Steel XL Counterpoint. Very nice knife. Chunky, nice handle. The XL Vaquero, the AD10, man after my own heart. Stockman Traditional in yellow smooth bone. I have one of those in my Amazon cart because I love Stockman's and I love Cold Steel. So I got to see how they do their Stockman. Rough Rider Marlin Spike, which is an underrated self-defense tool, by the way. That spike locks out and it comes out at a very cool angle, and you hit someone in the stomach with that, and they gotta get to the hospital pretty soon, you know. The Shaman Mannix 2, so double Spyderco, and Blacked Out Rat. CRKT Spew Necker. Craig Vincent, you're going to the Blade Ogre School of Carry. I like it. And you pay no heed to my rules of no double brand carry. I mean, geez, man, you ran all over that rule with your multiple Spydercos and your multiple Cold Steels, but somehow it warms the cockles of my heart because XL Cold Steels and 2 of them. Yeah. Nicely done, sir. Blade Ogre says, carrying the Clever Girl, the blue and black Blue Sprint Ops Pro, or Buck Sprint Ops Pro, the LT Right Knives Switchback, the Hardcore Hardware MILF, the GEC Granddaddy Barlow. What? Oh, wait, I have one of those. All right. I was thinking of the Case Granddaddy Barlow. If we're talking about the same Granddaddy Barlow, the number 97, oh God, it's like that beautiful, beautiful creature that you fell in love with, I don't know, 15, 20 years before you met your wife, and your first love, you're like, oh my God, she's amazing. And then you found out whatever it was about her that took her completely off the board. That's what this is to me, because it's like almost doesn't have a spring. It's a big, beautiful Barlow, Coke bottle handle, big giant bolster, big gorgeous clip point blade, and it's like you could basically whip it open. Oh, such a shame. They really botched it. I think they botched it. I think the big blades need the strong, especially something you can pinch open like that, need the strong blade. Spyderco Swayback Tactile Maverick, very nice. The Smith & Sons Spur, the Bastinelli Mako. What? How cool. And the Sleazy Ogre, which we all know at this point was made by Jason Grant of Grant Gripper fame. So really, but of Chris's design. Really, really nice and comprehensive carry, as usual, sir. Chansy Mills says, Spyderco Tenacious in M4. How cool is that? What is that? A Blade is that a Blade HQ? Does it have like a teal handle? I'm curious about that. I haven't had an M4 knife, an M4 bladed knife in a little while, but I do remember really liking it on my Contigo. Will B says, my Chevalier is used to cut corrugated paper at work. That sounds like the perfect use for that knife because of that long, straight edge. You don't have to worry about the point. You don't have to penetrate anything. It has a lot of wear on it. I'd love to see it. That's cool. Willard James, nice to have you here, Willard. Is that a hood survival knife in your profile? Well, Mr. Bob, will I see you at Blade, Texas this year? Probably not. As a matter of fact, I would probably know by now, and no. I know what you're saying. Last year, I said I would, but I just was in Texas in November. Don't think I can swing it. Pete, well, I'm going to have to think about that moving forward, though, because it looks like I'll be going. It'll be all right. Thank you. Food for thought. I gotta work on everything. Pete Davidson says, my emotional support knives have been Swiss Army knives with fancy handles. I like being able to fondle the different materials and match them to the rest of the stuff I carry. Matchy. So what about the red Celador? Do you like the old school handles? Love me some skulls, says Mark Salva. Hey, you know what? That's like everyone's got their thing. I get into weird stuff. I mean, not weird stuff. I'm a very normal guy, but I get into some weird stuff. areas of interest. Pete Davidson says, in my later years, I find myself avoiding thumb studs on folders. Deal breaker. Interesting, Pete. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm not trying to sell you on thumb studs, but they've gotten really good, especially thumb studs have gotten great. I just mean like thumb studs on a frame lock, if it doesn't have the right, could be but with the bolster lock, thumb studs are back, baby. Or the slow roll, you can slow roll it again without having to shoot it out like a maniac in front of all your pearl clutching work buddies. Mattisfaction, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, everyone, he says. Good evening to you, sir. Good to have you here. T-Bird says, well, first of all, T-Bird, it's good to have you here. I like it. Carried the Spyderco Shaman Knifeworks 204P, a steel I have never had, with advanced weapons technology, OD green, skinny scale. Oh, I didn't know they make skinny scales. That's cool. I like their stuff. Do they still make it was sniper gear, right? Like stocks and things for different kinds of rifles. Robert Strebin says today's carry is the Terens D2 steel G10 titanium handle folding knife, Victorinox Cyber Tool. I think that's a cool one. Translunt red Swiss Army knife, Translunt, and Wayland tactical neck knife. I think that's probably translucent red Swiss Army knife. And what is this Terens D2 steel G10 titanium handle folding knife? I'm unfamiliar with Terens. Now, I've fallen behind on some of the new brands, but this we have. Thankfully, we have Jared Neve and we have Stasa, and they are constantly exposing me. I know there are others, Mattisfaction, but those two guys are constantly exposing me to brands that I've never heard of. Terens might be one of those. Sword says today's carry was the Cold Steel Roach Belly. I love that knife as a gardening knife with a Le Griff for emotional support. Le Griff, of course, the great neck knife from Ernest Emerson. But I keep the Roach Belly in my car. When I first got the Roach Belly, which is a $12 awesome cold steel knife, which, by the way, I knew someone who spent 2 years surviving on the road, and that was their only knife. But I textured the handle, and then I wrapped it with jute cord, and then put shellac on it, lit that on fire, and it is a great handle. Mattisfaction says, today, for the last 2 weeks, been carrying the Kaiser Phoenix and Lynch Northwest pry bar for work. The Kaiser Phoenix. I'm not sure which one that is, but Kaiser has my serious. Now I regret, like I had the Kaiser, I had a couple of the Kaiser knives designed by Matt, not Degnan. He has an Italian last name. He kind of put Kaiser on the map, and I had a couple of his knives and I got rid of them, and now I really wish I had them. And Kaiser was one of the first, I think the first brand that I knew of who was sculpting titanium on these knives by Matt with an Italian last name, who does not make custom knives anymore because I think he had some sort of ailment that made him seize up, which is horrible. Blade Ogre says the 2022 Remington Bullet Granddaddy Barlow was made by GEC and is on my IG. That is beautiful. Right. The 2024 Bullet version by somebody is called the Waterfowler, and the 2023 version is by GEC and is a hawkbill. That is a beauty. I've been eyeing that one up on who has that on their opening page. I guess that might be Traditional Pocket Knives. Man, that thing's gorgeous. Have a Knife Day says, I'm carrying a Randall 1.7. Man, that's awesome. I love that knife. I was polishing my brass hardware today. Yeah, be careful with your brass. It can get everything green. Let's give this knife away. I'm so sorry it's taken me this long. All right. It's time. Here we have the Cayman XL and we're going to give this away to one lucky Gentleman Junkie. But first, let's bring everybody up and let's read their names first, Jim. If we could pay tribute to our Gentleman Junkies here. Thank you so much for your support. Five Door, Ben Belkin, Byron Kennedy, Caleb Townsend, Cam Michael, Colin Maison-Pierre, Dante, Edwin Kahlo, Francis Villar, Gavin Kalitis, Jay McConnell, Jesse Tellis, Jock Knife, JVF, Martin Gamboa, Mr. VC256, Never Enough Knives, 007, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Shane Miller, Tom Kim, Will Boyer, that's Will B, and Northern Knives. Guys, one and all, thank you so much. Not only you, but also our traditional junkies and our tactical junkies out there. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. We love you. And we hope we're putting these ducats to good use. All right, Jim, let's spin that wheel in 3, 2, and 1. Let's see. Where does it stop? Where will it stop? It always teases us. Oh, yeah. Colin Maison-Pierre. This super awesome Bowie knife for everyday carry, for personal protection, for car use. Who knows? Who knows what he'll use this for? Maybe like him, this will be a fondle knife while he's watching movies at night. Who knows? But this is going to him. Thank you, Colin, for your support. And thank you, everyone, for your support. I'm happy to send this little trinket of my appreciation off to you, Colin. All right. All right. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and let this go down. Oh, that's the stuff. All right. So let me show you something else. We were talking Swiss Army knives. A lot of us are going through this Swiss Army phase. I'm not sure why. I know why I am, but I've noticed Scab of Choir Boys Cutlery, who's into giant knives, has been into Swiss Army knives too. Very interesting. Maybe it's just something in the air, you know. Chris McNair says, "Hey, Jim, hope you and all the junkies are doing well. Carried my 80 20.5 shark's foot, of course. Chris, by the way, nice to have you here, sir. Para 3 lightweight, and I just received my Carry Commission Malibu. Reverse Tonto, of course. She's a beauty. Carry Commission. I'm unsure of what that is. But I know what the knife is, and that is a beaut. Northern Knives. I find that anything without bearings makes me think twice. Really, washers feel a touch design lazy. Maybe it's just me. Interesting. All right, so let me say this. What about the feel? Like, okay, all right. I'm looking at my Spartan Hersey folder. This, like a lot of the big, tough American tactical hard use knives, the budget guy. Good to have you here, sir. Be up, hashtag be up. Good to have you here, man. This feel, this luxurious hydraulic feel, I'm best illustrated in a Sebenza 21. I don't know how the 31 feels. I'm sure it feels awesome. But no, you don't like that. I mean, I to each his own. That's my philosophy. But I ask you, lazy though, lazy design. Is it because of the pockets and stuff haven't been milled out? And I don't know. I'm interested. You can see I'm a little bit triggered. But then again, I do have a flipper here and a Gen 3 hinderer that is not on washers. I mean, that is on washers and doesn't have a very great detent. And you got to juice it up to get it to open. So I got to say, I do like the bearings on my hinderer. I think they beat the washers. So maybe not in every case, but in some cases, I like the washers better, like in the TRM Atom. All right, Pete Davidson. In regards to thumb studs, I often use folders for food preparation and find the studs shorten the usable length of the blade and get caught up in things. Yeah, that is that is something that some of my favorite reviewers pay attention to, even when cutting stuff too. It might shorten or you know, move where you're going to start the cut on the blade. And also holes in blades, decorative holes, like on the Todd Begg knives. I don't like the holes. I do like the designs of the knives, but the holes I don't like, because stuff gets stuck in there, and then you got a toothpick and some schnook with a toothpick. What got to clean out my knife? The budget guy, yes, I know we all love cleaning out our knives anyway. The budget guy says washers are better for dirty tasks, especially if you don't like taking apart your knife. Agreed. And also certain not ingredients, environments, I would imagine. Areas where there's where the landscape is predominantly fine sand, I bet you'd rather have washers, though. Fine sand is kind to nothing. Pete Davidson says both grandparents and my mom use their Swiss Army knives a lot. My pop insisted that every gentleman should have one. He's right. And Jim carries a super tinker. So that's the tinker with the saw, I believe. And it was cool because I was showing him this at lunch the other day, and he pulled out his super tinker, and his assessment of this was correct. Though I do like this knife. It is a chunker, and this is something I just got. It's the Rake. It's the Rake M42G. Matisfaction says, "Oh, thank you, Jim. The Rook, not the Rook, the Rake M42G." Can you bring up Matisfaction's comment? I just wanted to see what he was saying about. I didn't know I needed a fondle knife, but I can't sleep until I get one now. You didn't? Why am I wheezing? You didn't know you needed a fondle knife? Dude, of course you did. Oh, that's my sleeve. Okay. So this is a multi-tool. This is their answer. Rake is the knife division of Phoenix Lights, and man, they make a good knife, I gotta say. The 201 the P201, I think, was a real big one that came out a long time ago for them. But this is cool. And I got a keychain version of this, but I'm really digging this. It is a 4-layer Swiss Army knife, like multi-tool. A 4-layer that is as big as a Swiss Army knife 5-layer. Where is it? I had one around here somewhere. Oh well. But so it is thick, but all of the springs are thicker, and the blade stock and the tools are thicker. And this is made of 12C27. So this is a Swedish Sandvik steel, hollow ground, nice. It's about a 3.2-inch blade. No half stop, no lock. They do make a multi-tool like this, blade-based multi-tool like this, with a locking knife, with a locking blade, but I decided to go with this. I might get that one also just to compare, but so great action on this, nice pull, pretty good lockup in that closed position, though no half stop. And if you do happen to push it, it might bite you, but I don't know why you would do that in the first place. It also has a great saw, much like the Swiss Army knife. It extends just a touch beyond the frame so that you can just grab it and pull it open like that, and you don't have to touch the teeth. Very nice saw, very much like the Swiss Army knife in terms of teeth. And then this one comes also with a great pair of scissors that have a very robust spring that works off the spring tension of the back spring here. See if you can see that. Very nice. And then when you fold it, I like the way they fold because, I don't know, the other ones, the Swiss Army knife scissors, which I love, the springs feel kind of weak. And when you close it up, I'm always worried that this doesn't happen. It's designed not to happen. But I always think that if I don't close up the scissors before I close it up, that they're going to get caught and get go the other way, but they're designed to not do that. Anyway, but I like how these scissors close a lot. And then you've got your opening layer, or I should say you have your multi-tool here. It's got a half stop. It's kind of a sloppy half stop, but it's your flathead screwdriver, cap lifter, and wire bender thing, wire stripper. Of course, this has a pocket clip, and then it's got a corkscrew. And let me get this open. Oh, opens from here, and an all punch blade here. And no, unfortunately, with this one, its edge comes all the way down, so you can't really grip it. I mean, in a pinch, you could grip it and punch with it, but you're going to cut the hell out of your finger. So best to use the corkscrew if you have to use this to punch someone, or you could use the glass breaker. But one tool I neglected to show on this side. Well, first of all, there's a little ring that locks out that you can put a fob or a key ring or a lanyard on, but it's this tool here. This is an interesting and kind of menacing tool. It's a sort of curved serrated package opener with a screwdriver on the end. It's a weirdly placed screwdriver for something like this. And I like that this is here, though. I figure if you're going to do that and make a tool like that, why not just make it like that and just go all the way and make it a little hawkbill tipped, little something, with a tip that's a little more pokey or terry, I guess, if you will. Anyway, that's just me. It's kind of stupid, but I do like this knife a lot. Is it a Swiss Army knife killer, Victorinox killer? No, it is not. But what it is a cool, and I got to stop saying cool. It is a beefed up homage. I'll say homage. It's a beefed up homage of a Victorinox. To me, the red Celador handles, I just had it out. Where the hell was that? Oh, here it is, right in front of me. These kind of handles are a little nicer because they're contoured, and you drop this in the pocket, It's very heavy. The liners are thicker. The layers are thicker, the springs are thicker, the blade stock is thicker. Everything about this is heavier duty and heavier. But this is heavier. Oh, I forgot one thing on this that I'll show you. That's great. This is a little bit heavier, but has less capability. Or no, yeah, a little lighter, but less capability. Okay, let me show you this though. Forgot to show you these. Look at these tweezers. They're immense. Here, I'll compare them to the Swiss Army knife tweezers. Victorinox on the top, rake on the bottom. Both good, but man, these are heavy duty. I mean, these are like regular tweezers. You could pluck your unibrow with that. These not so much. These are good for what do you call it? Splinters and such, but I'm really digging these rake tweezers. So all in all, a really, really great blade-based multi-tool, and I dare say would make an outstanding bag knife. This would make a great knife that you just leave in your bag because it's a little heavy in the pocket. They do make thinner versions. They have a whole bunch of different models of this knife, of this style knife. Here's the whole lineup. There's a bunch of them, different tool combinations, different amounts of layers and such, and then different sizes as well. So great to drop in the bag is what I'm saying, because in the pocket it's a little much, though they do make smaller versions, and those are fine to carry because I carry a small keychain type version. Will B says, if the Harzy folder had a flipper, I'd own at least one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I do know. I don't know if I would like that, unless you could hide the flipper within the guard, like completely. And even if it came down to exactly the same level with the guard and had jimping, that would actually be cool because it would give you a little choke up point. Huh, you might have something there. Yeah, I don't know if it would work for my idea, but I'm with you. Edgy American, thumbs up are painful for me, but it's my fault. Nerve damage. Oh, dude. What was you posted something on Instagram recently, Shane, that was heartwarming. It was an old picture of yours, and I can't remember what it was now, but I brought a smile to my face. Looked like good times in the past. Northern Knives says there are exceptions to not liking them. The Roosevelt is very smooth, but they have amazing tolerances. Right. I had one on loan to me, and that knife is pretty amazing. Like Sebenza oid. If right, I don't have. If right, I don't hate them, but if I'm spending big money, I want very smooth operation. All right. What is your favorite then? Let me know. And you're in, I don't want to say a privileged position, because I know you work very hard having a knife store, but you're in a spot where you get to try a lot of different knives. What is smoothest to you, and what's your favorite? The Knight's Edge. Nice to have you here, Knight's Edge. What's up, y'all? He says, well, what's up with you? Just stopping by to say, hey, what's up, Knife Edge? Well, before you leave, let me show you something cool so you haven't come here in vain. Let's see. How about this? I know I've been showing it off a lot recently, but I can't get enough of this knife. This is the Doug Marcaida designed. What is he calling this? Why am I forgetting? Oh, Cortada. This jimping here. Oh yeah, you could use it as jimping, but oh man, that would be great for this kind of thing. If you're quick enough to get a trap, but you got this long, straight edge blade, but with a downward cant, beautifully sharpened, really, really sharp. That this is a nasty knife. And then this is made so that if you had your, if you felt like it, you could sharpen that top swedge. And man, I wish it were sharpened, but I am not going to ruin this knife by doing it myself. So here's to you, sir. Thanks for stopping by. Greatly appreciated. Edgy American says, I can't believe Bob disrespected the legendary Rake P801B. That's what I meant. The P801B. That I did not disrespect the P801B. I like that knife. I remember that was the knife that was recommended. Like if you have Dom Perignon taste but a Budweiser budget, if you like the Sebenza, but you can't afford the Sebenza, check out this very inexpensive Rake P801B, and you will get some of the same satisfaction. Well, of course, you don't get any of this. I shouldn't say that, but great knife. Bladetastic Knives says jacket carry lately. RMJ tactical. Oh God, that's right. Tactical snuggles in one pocket. Snuggles. I saw you with the snuggle. Oh no, that was someone else. The RMJ tactical snuggles in one pocket. The regiment blades auto lock folder. Okay, so before we get off of this, the regiment blades folder, is that the one, the Colonel, that's sort of a pistol grip knife with a sort of dagger blade, and then the snuggles? Holy crap, those are nasty. When you look at the surface that makes contact when hit with said snuggles, it's like a jagged mountain range. It's like different levels of jaggedness. He says yes. Okay. All right. Pete Davidson says, I'm pretty sure the only ball bearing knives I have are from O Knife, and they are surprisingly smooth and well put together for the money. Thanks, Kaiser. Yeah, I mean, nothing surprising about that, Pete. If Kaiser's at the helm, and they make some of the smoothest damn knives. The Colonial Blades dagger. Okay, all right, that's what I thought. Not the Colonel, right? The Colonial. Wait, what was it? I'm such. Colonial. Colonel. Okay. That word. Come on. That's colonel. Everyone knows it's colonel, but somehow we have to all know that it's colonel. Okay. So the Colonel blade, that thing is very cool. And I've seen you drawing it. Um, your skills are impressive. I know I always talk about it, but they're so fun to watch. And the thing that always gets me, so Steve here will hold a bottle of something and drop it, and then draw an 18-inch kukri out of a floppy leather sheath. And by floppy, I mean it's not like rigidly attached to his leg, so it easily, but somehow he still draws it out and freaking cuts the thing before it hits the ground. And yeah, duel at morning. You do not want to hear from this man. Edgy American says Kaiser makes that cool ass Phoenix knife. Yeah, that's come up tonight already. Yeah, and I got to say, like, they had maybe 2 years where there was a dip in confidence that I sensed from the knife community, but like, nothing that I noticed personally in the Kaisers that I had. But at that time, I don't think I was maybe buying too many Kaisers. But I remember there's a period of time where people were like, oh, like, I don't know, maybe they were totally high on Riot, and then Kaiser was, I don't know, third fiddle or something. I don't know, but they came back with a vengeance, because I'd say that their stuff is it's just awesome. They do a great job. Let me drink some more coffee. Let's see. All right, I've shown it all. I have shown it all. Ketmuk, if you're still here, do let me know if you've ever used Bark River's whatchamacallit, warranty. Now, you may have answered, and I may have just missed it. While I have these out and we're talking Swiss Army knives, have I shown you this? The Swiss Army 1, $20, and it has the most amazing snap. I have decided to call knives that have no half stop that they have snap. The other knives have walk and talk, because to me, this is the walk and the talk. And to me, the half stop is essential in that term. But anyway, my point here is I'm gonna very see if you can sense how well this locks up. I'm gonna do this in front of the mic, and I'm going to urge you to get one of these knives. All it is a 93 millimeter Swiss Army knife, and so all the A-locks, all the big A-locks are 93, which is 2 millimeters larger than the normal size 91 Celador here version. So they're a little bigger. The blades are a little bigger, and they're just, they feel great in hand. The aluminum, the A-locks. If you don't have one, treat yourself to an A-locks Swiss Army knife. They sacrifice the tweezers and toothpick, what they call scale tools, when you go to aluminum. Not quite sure why they can't put them in, but they don't. But here you just have a great knife. And if you're a guy who only likes, or a gal who only likes, a single bladed slip joint or a single bladed knife, this is a great one to go for. And now I really want to get the Swiss Army 2, which of course is out of production and you can't find it anywhere. And it's this knife. And why do they do this? People would clamor for this knife. It's this knife sharing a same spring, though, with a small, which I like, by the way, with a smaller little hawkbill blade that comes out here. Perfect little double bladed drop in the pocket. You drop this in the pocket and you almost can't tell it's there. Now this is the Cadet, which is an 84 millimeter A-locks. This you truly can drop in the pocket and forget, because at this size, when it's going side to side in the pocket, it doesn't drive me nuts, and it's thin and it's light. Yeah, Victorinox. I don't know why it took me so long to truly appreciate them. And it's not like I'm out camping every night using them, but I dig them. Todd Carr, nice to see you here, Todd. Evening, everyone. Lurking. Todd uses that word lurk, and I love it. I'm a lurker. No, I'm not a lurker. Well, I can be. Can't we all? Jesse says, love my 1 and 7 Swiss Army knife A-locks. My 1 and 7 Swiss Army knife A-locks. What does that mean? Anyway, I feel you. Now I feel like I have to get a certain like an anodized color. I like the A-locks, but they come in some cool colors. Northern Knives, maybe you should do an exclusive and have it be that cool blue color you have there in your logo. Northern Knives says, I always really like the Kaiser Uprising. Good looking worn. Oh, the Uprising. That was in that early group, right? That was in that early group of knives that I was talking about. It wasn't the Matt, what's his name, knives, but it was in the earlier. I remember that, and it had. I remember thinking for a Wharncliffe blade that's all straight angles, it had a pretty contoured handle, if I'm not mistaken. You know, with choily and contoured, if I'm remembering that right. Splitting Slices says, Guys and Dolls, gotta cut out. Guys and Dolls, love that musical. Have a good one, man. I got the horse right here. Thanks, Bob and Jim. Split a slice with someone soon. Bye. I will. I'll split the whole pie, man. But I can't wait to split a slice with you, sir. And thank you very much, Byron. You have a good one. Have a great weekend. Pete Davidson says, good night, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Back to the writing, back to the writhing Mong mass. That is my workplace. Sorry to hear that, man. Stay sharp, boys and girls. Well, Pete, you have a good one. Have a great weekend, sir. Always great chatting with you, and have a good night. Jacob Schneider, good to have you here. Just got one of my Grail Striders. Ooh, nice. I'm down to one Strider. I've only ever had one Strider at a time, but I have one Strider, and I love it. Jesse says, the one like you. Oh, okay. I don't know the Swiss Army 7, but okay, the 1 and the 7. What's the 7? I'll have to figure that out, and I'll have to get it. No, but I'm with you on that. Will B says, good night, all. Will, you have a fine evening, sir. And have a great weekend, one and all. Let me see. Yeah, and I feel like you can really tell the difference with the blades on these. They seem to have more belly. They seem to be more symmetrical. And they're definitely a little bit longer. But all right, and we'll put those to the side. Remember, tomorrow at which is the 20th of January 2024, these go on sale. This is the Jack Wolf Knives second release of the Sharpshooter Jack. This one is the one I predict will fly off the shelves the quickest. The most beautiful blue carbon fiber here. I think that's Arctic Storm with the black anode handle and the PVD coated blade. So beautiful. And yeah, I know I always talk about the looks, but oh yeah, also it's wickedly sharp and extremely robust. And with S90V blade steel, it is a hell of a cutter. And I've seen, let's see, I saw Scab. If you guys know Choir Boys Cutlery and you watch him use and abuse knives and really test the hell out of them, I saw him testing the hell out of one of these at his work site. He cut this hose that was about 3/4 of an inch thick all the way around, that had like a very small diameter opening, and he cut through it with this knife, and you wouldn't, it would be it's a very special slip joint knife that can do something like that and prevail, you know, without blade wobble, without any sort of negative impacts. Craig Vincent says, I have 2 Kaiser Graziosos. I got them a few weeks ago when I got the Phoenix. I also have the Kaiser Constellation. It's a nice one. A knife I don't hear many people talking about. Yeah, Kaiser. I don't know the Constellation. Constellation is is that the recurve Tonto? No. That's the Huntsman. Oh, okay. I was thinking of that because that one is super unique. The brand new Huntsman, um, unique, and I'm not crazy about it, but the it looks like it could be very useful. The handle reminds me a bit of like a Strider handle, the way it widens out towards the end. But I they're just taking chances, cool design chances, and yeah, I love it. I love everything they do. Not everything they do, but I love that they're there and making cool stuff. Craig Vincent, oops, maybe I meant Contrail. Not sure I know the Contrail. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the name, the Contrail. Anyway, I'm getting a little dusty. I think it's time for me to settle in. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and joining the conversation. I feel like I blabbed nonstop, but that's usually what I do here anyway. Be sure to join us on Sunday for Todd Hunt of TM Custom Knives. He's out of Indiana, making really cool. He made this legendary and iconic blade, the M18. It's a bush tool that it's a super cool. You'll recognize it when you see it. But very interesting guy. Be sure to check that out. And of course, Wednesdays, midweek supplemental. You won't want to miss that. Blade Ogre says, thanks for another awesome show, Bob. Bob and Jim. Night all. Have a great weekend. Chris, you have a wonderful weekend, sir. Mattisfaction, good night all. Thank you, Mattisfaction. You have a wonderful evening. Gus Beck, thank you, Gus. You have a great one. Fibbit a bit. Good to have you. Fibbit a bit. Come back next week. I want to say your name again. Craig Vincent. Yeah, the Contrail. I have the little chunker in my head. Oh, that's what it was. I remember thinking Contrail, long and thin, and this is a chunky knife. Interesting choice. Angelo, take care, Angelo. Have a great weekend. Todd Carr, have a great night. Todd, you have a great weekend. Everyone, keep making sharp things fun and enjoyable, he says. I couldn't concur more. Night all. Northern Knives says, great chat as always. Thanks, Bob and Jim. Thank you. And thank you for your grace and kindness. I appreciate it so much. As does Jim. For Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, I implore you, don't take dull for an answer.